For today's cup of coffee, I have a story that comes from Daily Mail and is by Caitlin Tilley from May the 25th of 2023. And this is another one of those mad scientist type things that I thoroughly believe has crossed the line. We've got a lot of things that are crossing the line these days, but you can let me know what you think. Researchers in Japan are on the cusp of being able to create human eggs and sperm in the lab from scratch, which would then develop and be developed in an artificial womb. And the picture that I'm using today is, I do believe that is a sheep that is being developed in an artificial womb. Yeah, I wonder if it's got a one of those slide zip locking things on it. Professor Hayashi is what it is. I'm not even going to try that first name. A Japanese scientist at Kyushu University has already figured out the process in mice and believes he is just 5 years away from replicating the results in humans. But there are ethical concerns, as it means women of any age could have babies. Parents may also want to design their offspring to have certain traits using gene editing tools, giving way to the notion of an assumed perfect child. Dr. Hayashi and his team recently created 7 mice with 2 male biological parents using skin cells from a male mouse to form a viable egg and then fertilize it. The ability to produce custom-made human sperm and eggs in the lab is called in vitro gametogenesis, IVG. It works by taking cells from a person's blood or skin and reprogramming them to become induced pluripotent stem cells, iPS cells. In theory, these cells can become any cell in the body, including egg and sperm cells. They could then be used to make embryos and implanted into women's wombs. Scientists have been able to make very basic human eggs and sperm this way, but have not yet been able to make embryos. Dr. Hayashi guessed it would take 5 years to produce egg-like cells from humans, with another 10 to 20 years of testing before physicians feel the process is safe to be used in clinics. Stanford University professor Henry Greeley told Freethink he estimated that researchers will need another 5 to 10 years to reach a reliable proof of concept, plus a decade or two for safety testing. Jean Long, a researcher at the Scripps Research Institute, said IVG and human reproduction told the New York Times in 2017, quote, "I wouldn't be surprised if it was 5 years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was 25 years, end quote. It would mean that scientists could generate sperm and eggs from infertile people from one of their blood cells, for example. About 1 in 10 couples in the U.S. struggles to conceive, and some of those are same-sex couples or hopeful single parents who have to rely on donated sperm or eggs, IVF, and in some cases, surrogates. But there are still lots of ethical, legal, and safety questions surrounding IVG. Some ethicists worry that closing the door on infertility could quickly open the floodgates to designer babies, eugenics, and legal snags that our society may be unprepared to sort out. It could allow people to steal the DNA of others using a strand of hair and make babies without their consent. In 2016, Japanese researchers created stem cells using 8-week-old mice, picking ones that had dropped a Y chromosome for some reason. Scientists then manipulated the cells in a way to copy the remaining X chromosome and create a cell with 2X genes, what would usually be considered a female. Dr. Hayashi said, quote, "The biggest trick of this is the duplication of the X chromosome," end quote. They turned these cells into eggs and used sperm from male mice to fertilize them in the laboratory. The process led to the birth of more than a half dozen healthy mice pups. Dr. Hayashi told the New Scientist he believes the door is now open to bring children being born from two fathers. The aim is to replicate the same process with human cells. He told The Guardian, quote, "Purely in terms of technology, it will be possible in humans, even in 10 years. I don't know whether they'll be available for reproduction. This is not a question just for the scientific program, but also for society," end quote. And we're in perilous times, folks. I mean, this is like science fiction horror come to life. It truly is. And these people are just off the rails on all this stuff. As far as creating, they're trying to outdo God. That no longer it's a man and a woman that has a baby. It's anything and everything that can have a baby. You don't even have to have a woman now. As a woman, there's been some severe issues for women over the past couple of years. And so with the ability to screw around with chromosomes, and they're doing this before birth, at what point are they going to be doing it after the birth of a person? And this is Matrix level stuff. We don't know on, humans are more than just, the flesh. It's also mind, body, and spirit. We have no idea what these things are doing to the other components. Now, for a, I don't even have the words to say on some of these things. For a child to be conceived in a petri dish by whatever means, raised in a plastic bag, without that heartbeat of the mother, that comfort, that warmth of the mother, that's going to be something that we don't even have a clue. I don't even know. I think that Dr. Frankenstein had more ethics than these people do. It's just, like I said, they're off the rails. And they're saying 5 to 10 years, and then, maybe 10 to 20 years as far as before it can be released to the public. That means they're already doing this. We don't even know how many of these babies have already been born. And that was just like I had read a couple of weeks ago that there was this one guy. There was a doctor that did the in vitro fertilization, and instead of using the sperm that had been donated, he substituted his own. And so you've got all these siblings out there that they don't even know that they're siblings. And it's like, what happens if these people happen to meet and then they partner and they produce an offspring, and there's the possibility of having genetic mutations from that? To be able to take a fingernail clipping or, a single strand of hair and gather that and recreate, that some of these megalomaniacs already are out there to reproduce themselves over and over and over. And could this become a form of cloning if you've got the same DNA donors? How many of these can you produce? I guess it would depend on how many of these fake wombs that you could have. This is some Matrix level shit. And it truly is just horrific. And that they're sitting there thinking that it's a wonderful thing. It's not a wonderful thing. There has to be limits. Ethics needs to be brought back. Morality. Common sense, for heaven's sake. I mean, it's just beyond belief. So, yeah, if you've had experiences with paranormal or supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, you can send me an email. Yeah, everything's going sideways again, folks. Sorry. It's been that way, and it keeps going further downhill. But email cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and that's in the description box. The link to the article will also be in the description box. The best way to contact me is through comments right now. So go ahead and leave a comment if you want to. Let us know what you think about the mad scientist, the mad world at this point. Be respectful. That's all I ask. Just don't put something in the comments that get me yeeted, because we're flying under the radar right now. So anyhow, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Know that you're loved, and let us pray one for another. So, yeah, it makes me feel tired. It really does. Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cut. Bye.